Yeah, so my name is Mary Alice Scott, and I'm the executive director of Portland by Local. Portland by Local is a nonprofit organization that works to lift up the local business community. We're made of about 400 local businesses, and our organization has been around for about 15 years, and we work to advocate, educate, and market local businesses, as well as connect local businesses to one another. And one of the primary things we do is emphasize the multiplier effect, which is the term for when local businesses support one another and buoys the local economy even further. We have a huge number of sectors that are represented in our membership, everything from real estate to retail to tattoo parlors, furniture shops. It really runs the gamut. Fitness studios, it's kind of all over the place. And so if it's a small business, that sector is probably represented in our membership. Really, it came about from kind of two different directions. One of them was the kind of preponderance of chain stores and big mega stores really growing throughout the country. And people being concerned about that. In a lot of places, local business organizations started up from bookstore owners, coffee shop owners, folks who really saw the threat that these chain stores were bringing to the vitality of their communities. And in Portland, we really got kind of a kickstart when Hooters wanted to move into downtown Portland. We don't talk about that part of the story too much, but I think it's an interesting part of the story for sure. And so the folks who had kind of already assembled to think about the chain stores realized that a chain like that moving into Portland would really change the feel and the character of the city. And so they got city council to pass, at least temporarily, an ordinance that blocked chains from moving into Portland. The city ended up retracting that ordinance, but it was enough to scare away that business. A big part of the reason why it's important is because it buoys our entire local economy. The multiplier effect that I mentioned is a big reason why. So if you imagine a local grocery store, a local food store, they are supporting local food producers. They are providing the typical kind of local jobs that you might have of folks stocking the shelves, but they're also working with local accountants. They're working with local graphic designers. They're working with local insurance companies. And so all of these different facets mean that local businesses are working with a huge network of other local businesses that supports the local economy and buoys it to a greater extent. We did a study early days when we first started that said that 76% more of your money stays in your community when you spend it with a local business than if you spend it with a box store. And so it's really the example of the multiplier effect is kind of how that's demonstrated. Maine in general is incredibly entrepreneurial. And so we see that the number of small businesses in our state and in Portland are phenomenal. It's great to see just a ton of small local independent businesses, everything from somebody who's running a business out of their home to a local business started 25 years ago, like Coffee by Design, that's kind of grown into be like a little bit of a local champion, you know, that's in more than one spot, but still has incredible community roots. The thing that is really common here and elsewhere is that over the past 10 years, commercial rents have become skyrocketing. And so we have seen that here, certainly making it harder for local businesses to afford commercial rents in downtown areas in particular. And that is not unique to Portland. It's happening in other places, but it's happening faster in Portland than in a lot of other places across the country. The costs of doing business particularly the commercial rents are really increasing quickly in Portland. This is a question that I really actually like talking about because I think it's a myth that needs to get busted. So there's a couple of answers that I give to those, to folks who raise that concern. One is that a lot of times it's actually cheaper to buy from a local business than it is to buy from a box store or to buy online. A lot of folks think that there are certain places that have really hammered home that they're affordable, cheap places to shop. And so folks don't do the research to find out where and price compare where things are actually more affordable. There was an organization similar to ours, I think in Vermont, that did a study on groceries and found that the local food co-op actually had a lot of the cheaper prices when you did a comparison of like for like, and you're comparing the same item across different stores. The other thing that I think is really important to consider is that the cost of an item is not just the price that's being paid at the cash register. It's also a matter of the so-called externalities, the things that we don't build into our pricing structure. So things that are perhaps more expensive if it's perhaps like a local yogurt made nearby, it may be that it's $1 or $2 more to get it, but it's a much lower carbon emission. It has a more stable job for the folks who are producing it, better safety practices. And so there's all of these other factors that go into what the cost of an item is. And that is something that I think it's important to consider when you're considering the price comparisons. One of them I think I mentioned already is that if you're a local business with a storefront, commercial rent is a really big challenge. And that will be kind of an ongoing thing, but I think there's an opportunity for the city to and it's doing its rezoning process right now. I think there's an opportunity for the city of Portland to really zone for local businesses and make it easier for local businesses to operate storefronts. I think another challenge is transportation, actually, that a lot of folks really prefer to be able to walk to businesses and get around. And so I think the city's goal of working toward walkable neighborhood nodes is really beneficial for the local business community because it means that there are smaller independent shops kind of populating little neighborhood nodes, and that makes a lot more likelihood of success for those local businesses. We hear from folks who are in the downtown area that they worry about parking for consumers, but it's always going to be kind of a limited thing, the parking. And so if we're able to get better public transportation and encourage people to take public transport into the downtown area, then that only stands to benefit the local businesses who are there. My answer always to that question, regardless of coronavirus, would be to think of local businesses first before you go online or go to a box store for whatever it is that you may need. The diversity of businesses that Portland has is really unique, and the only way to preserve that diversity is to support the businesses that are there. Portland by Local has a directory where we kind of list all of the local businesses who are members of ours and some beyond, so that you can find easily where you can get whatever it is that you're looking for. But during coronavirus in particular, we are really encouraging folks to practice these socially distant forms of sales. So you can buy gift cards from your favorite stores, you can buy online from a lot of places have pivoted really fast to put up online stores for these local shops. It's been a big endeavor to switch to online sales, but yeah, working to support the local businesses who are there now and choosing those over the big box stores and over shopping online with big chains is the easiest way to go about that. And then when it comes to policy, it's really important for community members to speak up for local businesses too. We have seen, I think, particularly over the past month or so, that the local business community can't just be buoyed based on sales and goodwill from the community, that it really needs to be structural policy support coming from our elected officials on every level. And that we'll need that now and well into the future. So when it comes to policy, we need community members to step up and support for local businesses too.